I'm Will. Welcome to the other side of life, and today I just wanted to share a little bit about one of the darkest days in my life. This episode is going to have quite a few triggers in it, so if you're struggling with suicidal thoughts right now, you might not want to watch this video, but I am here to share my experience, strength, and hope, and it's important to me that you know kind of the dark area that I was in my life. I remember, it was one morning that I decided I was pretty much done. And I had done everything that counselors had suggested to me, and I still wasn't feeling any better about life. So I decided that I was going to end my life with a bottle of wine and a whole bunch of pills. And I had previously checked myself into the hospital about a week or so before this incident. And I did the 3-day stay, and I listened to the counselors, and I listened to the nurses, and nothing that they said made me feel any better about my life. Nothing gave me the desire to want to continue living. It actually, listening to them, kind of made me feel worse. Like, this is just a hopeless situation. Like, no one can reach me. I'm beyond help. Except for one thing. There was one nurse or one counselor that told me about DBT therapy. She briefly described, there were some clinics in the Colorado area that taught DBT therapy, and that could be, it could possibly help me. I was interested in that, but it was very vague. So I went through the counseling time up there. I just ended up telling them, I think I'll be okay, I'll be fine, and they let me go since I was the one that checked myself in. But really, I'd just kind of given up. Nothing that they were saying was helping. None of the videos were, they didn't mean anything to me. But anyways, I remember I was sitting at home, and I was having marriage problems. I was having issues at work, and I just remembered that I was done. I got to the point that I just believed that everybody would be better off if I wasn't around. Because I believed I know I was a horrible husband. I believed I was a horrible father. I was a pain in the ass as a son, and I didn't think I was that good of a brother either. So I was tired of disappointing people, and the other thing was I was tired of burying people. I mean, you have to realize I had lost my uncle to suicide, I had lost an aunt to cancer, I had a couple grandmothers, a family that I live with, the husband and the wife of that family died. My mother in 2008 died of cancer, and it was just like I didn't want to bury anybody else, and I just felt like I was a disappointment to everyone. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just disappoint everybody one more time. One more disappointment, and I can never disappoint anybody ever again. So I proceeded to, drink wine and take pills. I take a few drinks, take some more pills. But then something in me remembered that DBT therapy thing, and so I had tried to call that clinic in Colorado, and nobody answered. I got the answering machine, and I just wasn't in the state of mind to leave a message. So I, hung up and took some more pills, and then eventually I ended up calling my local hospital, thinking maybe I had some wrong information, and I just asked the lady about, do you know anything more about DBT therapy? And the lady on the other end of the phone, said, well, we can set you up with another appointment. And I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to talk to you people anymore. And she asked me, well, are you feeling suicidal right now? And I don't know if it was the way she said it, or I don't know. Maybe it was the wine was really starting to kick in. And I just remember going, she's like, do you feel suicidal right now? And I'm like, bitch, I feel suicidal every freaking day, all right? And then I hung up the phone. I'm like, I'm done. I don't need to talk to these people anymore. I have tried, When I'm long gone and dead and gone, nobody can say I didn't try. I did everything in my power to try, so I'm done. I just kept drinking wine and taking some more pills, and then all of a sudden I heard a really light knock on my front door, and I didn't have a peephole on my door in that apartment. So I opened the door, and there's 3 officers standing at my door, and I tried to shut it, and that didn't work, and they decided to escort me back to the hospital. A week later, a few days later, there I am back at that hospital. You know what? And I'm thankful for those men. At the time I wasn't. I was pissed. I was very pissed. But I think, if any of those men, happen to see this video, thank you for saving my life. And, my heart goes out to the police officers that have to respond to some of these situations, because you don't know how dangerous. They didn't know if I had a firearm or what was going on. They just knew that there's a guy who's really depressed, who wants to give up on his life, and they're there to save him. And they did, and I'm very thankful for them. But anyways, I go up to the hospital, and a different therapist tells me more about DBT therapy, and I get in contact with work, and I was blessed and fortunate enough to get to go away for 2 months. I went to the Lutheran Medical Center in Denver, Colorado, and what an incredible center it was. And they really, they helped save my life. I remember my first meeting with one of the first therapists in the room, because it's a group counseling center, which we'll talk about more. But he just said, "How can we help you?" And I just said, "I'm done." I was like, if this doesn't help me, I will kill myself, before I leave this state. And he said, "We'll do the best we can to help you." And they didn't disappoint, I can tell you that. And it was a really dark time, though. I obsessed about death all the time. I had gotten to the point where it's like, anything could just set me off. And that's why it is so hard. I know that people take it so hard, like if they lose a family member, well, I wish I could have done more. I should have done more. I should have said something. We don't just decide one morning we're going to kill ourselves. It is a process to get there. And then once you're there, it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? And when am I going to do it? I was very lucky, again, I'm not against, firearms, guns in any way, but I'm very fortunate I didn't have a firearm, because I can promise you I wouldn't be here today after that phone call and hanging up on that lady. If I had had a gun, I know I wouldn't be here today. The pills just gave the officers more time to get there. And the statistics are out there. Middle-aged men, the suicide rate for us is higher than anybody else, because one, we're out working. We don't have time to go to talk to a therapist, or go away to a clinic, for crying out loud, when you're trying to support your family, And then the other thing is, a lot of us have firearms, and that's the go-to thing. And that's why when men get to that point of feeling suicidal, they go to their firearm, they're going to be 100% successful. And but it doesn't have to be that way. Whatever emotion, whatever feelings of failure, or whatever stresses in your life you're going through, I promise you it can get better. If you had told me in 2012 that I would be making videos and trying to share my experience, strength, and hope with other people, I would have laughed in your face. It would have been like, there's no way. In our next episode, we are going to talk about what DBT therapy is, what is distraction therapy, and how does it work? Because to me, it was one of the first keys that started giving me a fighting chance. So, you hang in there. If you're struggling with suicidal thoughts right now, don't forget about that suicide hotline. Is there for a reason. Talk to someone. It does help. You can look up my Facebook page, The Other Side of Life. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification, so that you can keep getting these videos, and hopefully next one will be a little shorter. Sorry that I went on and on, but I know that if I can do this, you can do this too. There is no reason to cut your life short. All right? I'm Will. I'll see you next time on The Other Side of Life.